for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Hey, welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We got co-host today, Bryant, with us. How you doing today, Bryant?
Hey, man, we're doing good.
Awesome, man. So let's just go ahead and start out. What are we smoking?
Right now, I'm smoking on a Hiram and Solomon Master Mason.
Oh, man, that's a sweet cigar. Let's go ahead and get that out there. You know, we got a great sponsor, Hiram and Solomon.
Oh, yes.
And, man, we love their cigars. We love what they do. And the cool thing is, you know, I'm a big fan of David Blanco, and he blends their cigars.
Yes.
I mean, we just feel so blessed to have Hiram and Solomon as a sponsor. We love their cigars. We love everything David Blanco touches. So anyway, we just want to say thank you. And then I'm smoking. You guys know I love the Casa Fernandez Aganorsa Leaf. Today I'm smoking the Reserva Maduro. I just fired it up. I haven't actually smoked the Reserva yet, so this is the first time for me. I'll let you know how it's going by the end of the show. And so let's talk about a little trip we went on to do this show. We went down to Austin, Texas, and it was a 2-for-1 actually. And we went to the headquarters of Romacraft, and I hope you guys got to check out the videos and the pictures that me and Bryant posted. We got to do a great interview with Mike Rosales, co-founder and co-owner, and they do some really cool things down there. That headquarters is something to see.
I loved it because of the homeliness of it. You walk in, and they have the, what is it called, the Weasel Den?
Right.
Yeah, and it allows you to come in and just sit down, and they will come out to talk to you. They will come out and spend time with you, and understanding what the company is about, what they are about. And it was, man, like you said, it was just like being in heaven almost, because you sit there, you get to meet the co-founder, you tour the headquarters, and you see some beautiful sticks that you're like, man, I really want this.
Right? Yeah.
They had some that were just one-offs like that. What was it?
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
At 253 gauge.
Yeah. And they had one cigar that was called the Femur.
Yes.
And
the Femur.
what did he say? It was 111 gauge?
Yes, 111.
111 gauge by 11, I think it was. Anyway, it was the same size as a Femur. So that was really cool. I don't think I could smoke one of those.
You'll try.
I mean, I would have to get like one of those T-shirts and said I'd survived this Femur cigar to actually try to smoke one of those. I don't know if I could do it, but I would try. So anyway, we went down there, and that show will air a week from today. We're actually going to do 2 parts with Romacraft. We had a great interview with Mike Rosales. I think it was about 2 hours long, so we're going to do a part 1 and a part 2 to that show. And then the next day, we went over and hung out with Ian and Rebecca at Smokers Abbey. Really cool. I mean, I have to tell you this. When we drove up to the shop and I saw how big the shop was, I was kind of like, oh, wow, this is going to be a small shop. And then when you go in, I was blown away.
Yes.
Because, well, first, you can't see the whole facing from the front because it opens up about, I guess, 6-7 feet in.
Yes.
But the way they have placed the furniture in that shop, they utilize 100% of the shop.
It's that feng shui.
Yeah, it really is.
She had everything placed because he said that his wife designed
Rebecca did it. Yeah.
She did it all, and she had things placed in areas and ways that it not forced you, but it made you want to talk to each other.
Yeah.
It made you want to sit there and enjoy your smoke. And then the best part about the brewery being down the street, down the walk, and then you could get you a nice beverage, adult beverage, and then walk back down and sit down and drink it and smoke your nice stick and just have a great conversation.
Yeah, what was cool about it was they have BYOB.
Yes.
And at the end of the strip center is a craft brewery shop, and they actually have in their licensing agreement that the whole sidewalk all the way down you can have your beer.
Yes.
So you can just go down there and get a beer. And we actually saw a guy named Ron come in with a
with
big,
a
tall double pint, and I was like, man, if we weren't getting on the road. So anyway, that'll be coming up later on in the show, the interview with Ian and Rebecca. And then right now, we decided that we're going to talk about which meals we love to have a cigar with. And if you've seen pictures of me and Bryant, you know we almost love meals as much as we love cigars. Maybe more. Yeah. It's a tie sometimes. Anyway, so I'm going to go first. You got to go first on the music last week. And so, by the way, let's talk about the music right quick.
Why?
So far, it's not over yet. We're going to do this a month-by-month basis, so this gives you a chance to sharpen your skills. But anyway, the percentages that came back was I was winning by 75%, and Bryant had 25% on the music selection. And I will have to say this, I kind of felt like I had some haters on the comments, because the comments that came in that were for me said it was neck and neck. But the comments that came against me was not neck and neck. It was like 110% Bryant, because I went country. Yes. I had one country song out of the three, and people were hating on me because I had the country. And I will say that I think a big part of that is because people hear country and they're closed-minded. Bam. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just because I got some hate mail on the country does not mean country's coming out of my repertoire.
You're gonna keep it in.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay true to my roots because I love good music. Yeah. And if it's good music that comes in country, we're gonna do country. If it comes in disco, I might surprise you with some disco.
No,
hey, I'm telling you, who doesn't want to celebrate, right? So anyway, you never know what I'm going to come up with.
I'm going to have to ask you what you smoking.
Agador Salif, baby. So let's get to the first food, and we're going to take turns back and forth. We're not going to do the 3 for 3. I'm going to go, and this is probably my number one pick. I'm going to start out strong because I don't think you can beat this one. I don't think. And I know you come from St. Louis, so you got some. Now, let me ask you this. Had you ever been to the place called Hillary's?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
Dude, they had, it was like this jazz club in downtown St. Louis.
Yes.
And I don't know if people know this, but like all the houses are built straight up.
We have row houses.
Yeah. And so you go into this house that's just turned into a restaurant, but it's also a jazz club.
Yes, sir.
And an R&B club. Mm-hmm. And they've got, the Pink Floyd song I did with the 4 black women singing. Yes, it reminds me of that because these women were just in there belting out some R&B.
Yeah. I could actually see that because that's what
so cool, man.
It's grassroots R&B, unknown singers, but phenomenal voices.
When we went in there, I was like, holy crap, you should hear these people on the radio. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I don't remember even what I ate there. I just remember the overall experience was amazing. Is that place still open?
I don't know. I've been gone for 10 years.
Yeah. Was it open 10 years ago?
Yes.
If I ever get back there, that's the one place in St. Louis I wanted to go back to. And I went to a lot of places. In fact, the only 2 places that I say I have to go back to is Hillary's and Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill, yes,
I know that's still open.
Yes,
yeah. So those are the 2 places that I just have such great memories of because it was just a full experience. Did I tell you when I was at Blueberry Hill, there was some band up there playing, and out of the audience comes with a guitar strapped around his neck, playing Johnny Be Good. And I was just like, holy crap.
Well, that was his restaurant.
I did not know that.
And he would, whenever he went down there, he had a set night. I think it was Friday. He would play every Friday. But if he was there and he felt it, he'd grab his guitar.
Yeah, because this was like on a Tuesday.
Yeah, he'd grab his guitar, get up there on the stage, and just turn it out.
It was crazy. And I'm a huge Chuck Berry fan. Yes. I might have to throw that in the mix.
Now, see, that's not fair.
That is fair because that's not R&B. I mean, it's rock and roll as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to my first meal that I'm going to go with. And if you guys, you're not going to know most likely because you're not from Texas, but my favorite meal to enjoy a good, solid cigar afterwards is going to be the Perini's ribeye steak.
Okay.
Now, have you ever had that?
Yes, I have.
Oh, man.
Yes, I have.
Now, in case you guys don't know, Perini's is like nationwide as far as reputation. And we're fortunate enough to have them, maybe 15 miles south of Abilene.
Tell the truth.
And it's like a ranch house restaurant on some acreage. So like when you go there, you're not like finding a parking lot in a shopping mall. You're just parking in the dirt.
Yes.
And you see this ranch house, and you go in, and I mean, it's ranch house style. You know what I mean? You got
That's
wooden
correct.
tables
Yes.
that look like they've been there since the 30s.
Yes.
But they have some amazing dishes as the sides, and also some dessert. Oh man. But anyway, the way they do that ribeye, you can't get a better ribeye that I've ever had. And I've had a lot of ribeyes. You can tell by my midsection. And a little fact, in case you don't know, Tom Perini, which is the owner of Perini's, of course, he actually is the one who catered to George W. Bush at the Crawford Ranch. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You know, the president calls you up and says, hey, man, can you fly me in and do some cooking for us? You know you're hitting it on all cylinders.
And it gets done.
Yeah, exactly. But not too done.
Yeah.
You know, a nice medium.
Yeah. Well, I'm medium well.
Are you?
Yeah, I can't stand.
I don't judge. If you want it burnt with ketchup, that's your business.
No.
Okay.
That's a waste.
Yeah, I agree, but that's how my wife likes hers, is well done. But she doesn't do the ketchup, of course.
Ugh.
But I like mine medium because I like a little juiciness and some red to be coming out. I wanted to know that animal was alive not too long ago. So anyway, that's my first pick, a Perini's ribeye. What you got for us?
Mine starts off going back home, and it's this corner, and it's like a club, but it has a barbecue store in the back, and you can get what we call a sampler plate, and the sampler plate has riblets, rib tips, and snoot.
What the heck is snoot?
Now snoot,
Tell me that's not a pig.
it's part of the pig.
It's
Yes,
not
it
the
is.
nose.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
But it's not the snout part of it, it's the top. And when you put that on a grill and let it get hard, if anybody's ever had crackling,
I've had crackling.
then you've had snoot.
Okay, well,
But it's, oh my God. And it laying there with spaghetti and 2 pieces of Wonder Bread, and eat that, and you have your nice little glass of bourbon afterwards. And it's just like the stick is the finishing touch.
oh, I can see it.
It's the finishing
I can
touch.
see it. Now, let me ask you a question, since you're an expert on crackling.
Yeah.
So what I was told I was eating was actually pig ear.
You can't eat pig ear
Is
that
that
way.
crackling?
You can make it as crackling.
Okay,
yes.
'cause
Or
that was
you can
that
just
when I
boil
was-
it up and put it with some sauerkraut and eat it also.
Boiling?
Oh, brother. When
No,
we say
now
we've
my
ate-
crackling was like fried,
yeah,
crispy.
that's right. I'm talking about there are other ways to make pig ears.
I got you.
When we say you eat the rooter to the tutor.
You mean it.
Oh.
Man, let me tell you, back when I was growing up, my dad would shoot some wild hogs. We'd bring them into the barn. We had a big old metal table that was probably like 20 foot by 8 feet.
Okay.
Huge metal table. We'd put out the big white canvas, and one of my dad's friends that was like 30 years older was actually a butcher all his life. And I mean, at the time I was probably in my early 20s, and this guy was like 80. And so anyway, he would cut out all the meat that he knew we liked, and then he would go to town on everything else and take it with him.
Yes,
That was like his payment for butchering the hog. And I mean, when you say from the rooter to the tutor, he meant it.
Yes. I mean, there's things that I've eaten off of a pig that some people will look and say, oh, but then if you give it to them and don't tell them what it is, they're like, oh, that's good. What is it?
Yeah, then they don't want to eat it
Then they
no
don't
more.
want it, but they loved it then.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was with crackling.
Yeah, crackling is good. But snoot, I'm telling you, it, especially when it's coming straight from the Red Door, pubbing them in. I mean, man, it's just like, it's crunchy on the top, but it has that little chewy on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then you get you a good glass of bourbon, and it's just like, I'm done for the day. Leave me alone.
Hey,
I'm
yeah.
good.
I hear you. So, okay, well, let's do my number 2.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you, this is a new one for me. I just had this a few weeks ago, and it was straight to the top of my list. I had the invitation from Mr. Al McAuliffe,
Okay.
and I went to the Riata, which is his restaurant, and I had never had this before, but it was blackened trout with a crawfish on top, with a crawfish cream drizzled over the top of that. Man, that blackened. And I like a lot of dishes blackened. And for a cigar, man, blackened just really drives it home. But that was probably one of my top 10 all-time meals. But that blackened, and then afterwards we went over to the Silver Leaf and smoked cigars. And Mr. McAuliffe also has his own coffee, which is a pecan coffee. It's a coffee, but it is infused with real pecans. Okay. Oh man, you mix a cigar with that after you had a good meal. Drive it home. So, all right, what you got number 2?
Number 2, and you took part of it. It's I love a crawfish broil. The ability to take crawfish, small potatoes, adoulé sausage, onion,
corn,
lemon, corn. Yeah. Put it in that spotted pot inside of another full of water. Put your seafood seasoning in there. Boil it up. Just take the table and lay you a paper cloth on top of it. Pour and just go to town.
Right.
And when you get done, you're so tired from eating that when you actually get to your stick, you're like, I've actually fallen asleep smoking a stick after eating a crawfish.
Where in the heck were you there?
At home.
At home? Who's cooking?
My wife.
Oh, I was going to thought you were going to say you.
Oh no, I can.
Yeah,
I can. I can barbecue and do a broil. Now, when you come inside the kitchen, I leave that alone.
Well, I had a great friend down in Houston that actually does a Cajun. He does catering, and man, you know what? I didn't know that I loved Cajun food because I had some here and there. But when you are getting it fresh from the guy cooking it, and he is doing it up right, he actually had like 2 or 3 food trucks.
Okay.
But he also has a full-time job, and it just became so much that he wasn't going to be able to do both. So he actually scaled back, and now he just does catering. And I've never had Cajun food like he does it, and I mean it's amazing. Anyway, that's enough about the crawfish. For number 3 for me, I'm going to go with La Presa in Spring, Texas. This is a Mexican restaurant where when you go in, I don't know what they're saying. Okay, I point at the picture that I want,
that you want,
and I get these carne asada street tacos.
Okay,
with a side of habanero sauce. Man, I'm telling you, by the time you're done, there's sweat beating down your forehead. It is just unbelievable. Now, the bad thing is you can't smoke in there, so I mean, it's like when I'm done, I don't wait. I'm like, hey, before I'm even done, here, let's go ahead and take care of the check. So as soon as they hand me my food, or my check, I mean, I pay it, I finish my food, and then so I can enjoy that flavor, just right down the street is the Spring Tavern.
And you're in there.
I go in there, and I get me a nice bourbon, and I got my cigar, and it's amazing because that habanero stays with you for a while.
Yes, it does. Yes,
and
it does.
I'll tell you a funny little story right quick. While we were in there, me and a good friend of mine, Jeff, everybody calls him Smiggy. Anyway, we were in this Spring Tavern, and it's one of the last few bars, so to speak, that you can smoke in.
Okay.
And everybody in there is like firing up cigarettes, and I light this big ass cigar, and I'm smoking this cigar, and people are looking over like, oh my God, that's horrible. They're not enjoying it. Cigarette smokers don't like cigar smoke.
No, they don't. And it's vice versa with us.
Absolutely. So anyway, I'm smoking this cigar, and this old man and this old woman come in. They sit down like, I don't know, 6-7 feet away from us. And they are just looking at me like I am pouring toxic poison in the air. And I mean, it's obvious.
Yes.
And what's so funny is I get down to the nub and I put it on the ashtray to let it go out. And the wife says to the husband, "Oh, thank God." And then I pull out another one and light it right up. And my buddy Jeff is just rolling because he's like, these people are finally relieved you're putting out that cigar. And I'm like, man, I got another one.
Yes.
All right. So that's my number 3. What's your final one?
My final goes back to St. Louis, too. And it's this restaurant in Fairview Heights, Illinois called Lottawata Creek.
I'll say that, Lottawata Creek.
Lottawata Creek.
Gotcha.
There is a dish there, and it's just called barbecued chicken wings. And when you look at the menu, you're thinking, okay, yeah, it's just wings, bone-in wings that I'm going to get, and okay, yeah, it's good.
Right.
But they bring you out this platter
Of wings.
and they're not chicken wings. I say these baby pterodactyl wings.
Right.
And there's not 3 or 4. I mean, it's like 9, 10 of them on there.
And they're huge. Now, how do they cook them?
Barbecue. And you know how we are up north. At barbecue, you got to have the sauce. We're sauce
Oh,
people.
yeah.
So it's layered with the sauce.
Now, what kind of sauce? Are we talking sweet? We talking
No,
spicy? We
it's
talking
spicy. It has a bite to it. You can feel the vinegar in it. You can't, but it has. They put their spices in it.
Okay.
So you have the chicken taste with this spicy wing, and you're like, oh, I mean, it's just resonating off your palate. And when you get done, get you a nice Maduro. You sit there like a fat man won't unbutton your pants. You just unbutton the top button on your pants and just sit there.
Right. Hey, been there. Yeah.
Oh man. But
So-
I've never had wings that size here in Texas, even though I know Texas does it bigger and better. When I think of barbecue wings, that's what comes to my mind. A lot of Water Creek, and that platter.
So is it the whole wing?
It's all 3 pieces.
I got you. So it's like the shoulder,
It's
too.
it's the drum, the flat, and that little flicking thing.
They just bring you the whole
They
thing.
bring you the whole
Nice.
thing, man.
Nice.
Man.
And you know, I'm a big wing guy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
love wings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, you know, I got to tell you, my wife makes the best wings of anybody I know. I used to like Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm not a big fan of theirs anymore. I don't think they cook them very well. I mean, sometimes they do. You get lucky when you got
Depends
somebody
on
to
the cook.
cooking them,
Yeah,
right?
depends on the
But they're
cook.
not consistent.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they'll have a ton of sauce, and sometimes they barely got any
Anything
sauce. And I'm
also,
like,
yeah.
you know, you never know what you're going to get. So
Consistency with me.
Buffalo Wild Wings, if you're listening, let's get some consistency going, please. Not that they care what I
I
have
want to
to
ask you
say.
one question.
Go ahead.
Favorite burger?
Dude, let me tell you something. You know, I don't know if I can give you a favorite burger, but I was up at Kincaid's in Keller, Texas this weekend, and they consider themselves gourmet burgers. I just call them big, fat, greasy burgers. But anyway, I had the Texas Outlaw burger, and it was a half pound of meat on a big old bun. And then it had a little bit of barbecue sauce on it. Yeah. Then it had some kind of spicy sauce on it. And then it had a big onion ring on it. And then it had grilled onions and grilled jalapenos on it. I can't say that's my favorite burger, but that's the last burger I had. Now, if I just go with my favorite burger, I don't know that I can pick one because if you make a good burger, I'm going to enjoy it.
Okay.
So who's your favorite burger? Because I'm assuming that's why you asked me, so you can tell me who your favorite burger is.
I am a fat burger person.
I was just hoping you weren't going to say In-N-Out Burger.
Oh,
'cause
no.
I was going to kick you out.
No,
I was
no.
kicking
I'm
you
a
out.
fat burger person. And I love one door in, one door out shops or places that make their own burgers. But there's one that we went to in Austin. I can't remember the name of it. And it was a double pepper burger.
Where was this?
It was in Austin, man.
Okay.
And 2 quarter-pound patties. It had American pepper jack and Swiss cheese on it. It had sauteed onions, green onions, jalapenos, and it had, like you said, a little slathering of barbecue sauce, and it was a sweet barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
But then it had this funny mustard on there. And when I say, man, it was the size, and I got big hands, and I had to hold it with 2 hands.
Nice.
And I was like, this is a burger, man.
Yeah.
And you get it medium well.
Right.
And you bite into it, and it's just like all those flavors were fighting for supremacy in my mouth.
Right.
And I was like, man, I ain't never had a burger like this in my life.
That's how that Kincaid burger was I had. And I'll tell you, the funny thing is, every time I took a bite, it like pissed. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
I was
you looking
like,
at your shirt like,
yeah.
oh, man.
I was eating up over the table because after the first time I was like, I'm ready. So you could tell that we love cigars and we love our food.
Yes.
And you know, and I'll tell you this, Austin is a great place for all kinds of food.
Yes.
And especially if it has to do with anything with beef.
Yes, sir.
If it's beef, Austin's got you covered.
Go to Austin, yes.
So, all right. Hey, well, that's enough of that. Let's get on to our other sponsor, which is the Alpha Cigar Company. They make some awesome cigars. We smoked those last week on the show, and you smoked the Diffuser.
That's correct.
Which is the 60 by 60, which is the one we had.
Yes.
And then I smoked the Claro, and it was like a box press torpedo, and I enjoyed it. You know, it's off of my radar for what I normally look for. You know, I told someone about it. I wanted some other people to try these cigars. And it's the funny thing is, most people when they hear infused go, "Oh crap, I don't want nothing to do with that." And I'll tell you what's interesting about it. And I actually gave a couple of these to a couple of guys at the Paladin today.
Okay.
And Aaron and Matthew, and we talked about it. It was like, when we say infused, it's not like over the top.
Oh, yes.
It's like a subtle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't like go, "Oh crap, this is infused." Now the funny thing is, when you smell it before you light it, you're thinking that this is going to be like, "Whoa, wait, what am I getting myself into?"
Right, over the top.
And then once you light it up and go, it doesn't have that funky flavor that some infused cigars have, and it's really a nice mellow smoke. And the construction is as good as I've seen.
Yes, it is.
We talked about that ash on yours last week.
Oh, most definitely.
I've never seen an ash like that.
Diffuser held that ash, and I was like, man, this thing is not falling. I actually, as you saw, I took it over there and did a nice tap.
Banged.
And it just sat there.
Right.
It looked at me like, okay, try again.
Right. It gives a whole new meaning to tap that ash.
Tap that ash. Yes.
So anyway, you guys check them out. I've posted some pictures on Instagram on their cigars. You can go to the website. We have a link for both Alpha Cigars and for Hiram Solomon for being our sponsors. Go check them out. See what you think. Let me know what you think. And get back to us on that. So anyway, we're getting into the interview time for Smokers Abbey. And so you guys hang in there. We're going to be on a quick little break. Welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones, and we are in Austin, Texas at Smokers Abbey. We have the owners with us today, Ian and Rebecca. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hanging out.
Man, we're doing good, too. You guys have some great cigars here, something I've never smoked before, actually something I've never heard of before. So when I go to different shops, I always on the lookout for something I haven't had, and I'm just like barely lit this smoke, and it's really nice. So let's go back a little bit and talk about how you guys decided to get into the cigar business.
Okay, so Rebecca and I are married. That's a detail that we probably need to throw out there pretty quickly. When we were dating, I started smoking cigars. She had already been into pipes. And so really tobacco and us enjoying those things had been a big part of our marriage for a long time. And
now, did y'all both smoke when you met cigars?
She was smoking pipes when I met her. I started smoking cigars probably about 3 months after we started dating, and then it's been on since then. So 2004-ish.
Cool.
Well, yes and no. It was actually the guys that I lived with in college that were like, "Hey, come have a cigar with us," and I just really liked the idea. I think it was Excalibur was my first cigar. I bought it at a store in the mall, which is which is so strange to say now, but
well, it's really not. You know, it's funny. Well, yeah, I get what you're saying, because I bought my first smokes at a shop in the mall back in I'm old, in 1984. So I mean, back then we smoked in the mall.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's strange to see how quickly it's gone down. I used to work at a restaurant. We had a smoking section in the middle of the restaurant.
Right.
There was no wall. There was just this is where you smoke, and then people with families are right on the other side of this half wall, and it's oh, that's the smoking section. Anyway, so I was in two careers that I loved. I was a youth pastor at a local church, and this may seem strange, but simultaneously I was also the vocalist for a touring hardcore band.
Nice.
And both of those things evaporated in 48 hours. The church decided to move on from me, and my bandmates decided it was time to shut the project down after 8 years.
Oh wow!
And so it was a really hard 48 hours of me just kind of going, oh crud, you know.
Yeah, what
So-
the heck am I going to do now?
Yeah. And so Rebecca and I started talking about what our next steps were, obviously, and we kind of lamented that we didn't want to just like rinse and repeat. Me go find another job, another band, you know, stuff like that. We'd always wanted to own a business together, and so we just started kind of naming things off, like things that we thought we would like to do. And when she was actually the one that brought up the cigar shop, she goes, "You should open a cigar shop in this area." We couldn't get away from it. It was just like we kept coming back to that one. Like that was the one that kept resonating with us. And so
Now, were you living in Austin at the time?
we've lived in this area for
Nearly 8 years.
9 years. And so we know this area very well. The church that I was a pastor at is in this area. We used to work at the YMCA. That was in this area as well. So we've been kind of out this direction for a long time. And
And had you been to some like iconic smoke shops? It's like, you know, I really dig what they're doing over there. Maybe that's something that we want to look at.
well, actually, a lot of the genesis of us starting our own place was kind of creating a vibe that I didn't feel like I was finding in the Austin area.
I got
and
you.
not at the detriment of anybody that's doing anything around town, because that's changed a lot, and we can talk about that in a little bit if you want to. But at the time when I moved here, when I started smoking cigars, we were living in Dallas.
Okay.
And because she's from Mesquite, and one of my first places, I bought cigars from the mall, right, and smoked them with my friends, but the first lounge I ever hung out in was in Fuego in Rockwall, Texas.
Okay.
And a little shout out to those guys. And I really fell in love with the idea of it, like the idea that a barely out of college kid, a 20-year cop, a guy who rode a motorcycle, could all sit around and just talk to each other and like hang out because we were connected through the cigar thing, and we had to slow down and stuff like that. When I moved to Austin, and this was when we moved back to Austin, this was 10 years ago, the cigar shop scene in the area really only had one big name.
Okay.
And you had to pay to sit in that lounge.
Ah.
And so I didn't really find that community and that atmosphere that I was
Right.
looking for.
It was a members only
It was
community.
a members only thing, and at the time, one of the big shops that's around now was very small, and so it was. It hadn't quite grown to the point that it was a lounge yet and stuff like that. So when we just decided to do a spot, we wanted to just kind of really forge something that was very distinct. Okay. That was very distinct for this area. And so, and then once I talked to my friend Josh Stump, who's also a pastor out in Nashville that we had met through the music scene, he owns the other Smokers Abbey.
Oh, nice.
I just called him to get advice. Like that was literally my only goal when I called him, and we talked for 45 minutes, and kind of at the end we kind of said, we're kind of thinking about the same thought process here with this business. We're approaching it the same way. And he said, well, we've got this thing that we're trying to put together where we open other Smokers Abbey. Would you be interested in maybe kind of participating in that? And we said, heck yes. And because it made some of the front end very, very easy. Some of the starting up stuff very easy. So we could just jump right into enjoying what we're doing.
And what I want to say also is every time he talks about what y'all are doing, he says we. And what I love about that is some other shops that I've done interviews at, I love the husband-wife team.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because it's like a balance. You know what I mean? What you're great at,
Mm-hmm.
and then what you're not so great at, she has strengths in, and
Yeah.
vice versa. And, man, I love that dynamic and that combination. And you can tell, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody who's listening, when you walk in the Smokers Abbey, it's like, bam, comfort, bam. I can tell that this is a place where I come to where I get, hey, what's going on, Rob, as soon as you walk in the door.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, that's the feel of the place. And Ian was telling me that you're the one who came up with this design.
I did.
You knocked it out of the park. And I was telling Ian earlier, we regularly go to a shop that's like probably 3 times this big. And you know, we have our space, but this is like you've utilized every square foot in here. You did a good job.
I sure tried. Thank you. The idea was that it would be the locals' living room, that you'd come in and you feel like you're at home. You want to be able to sit in your own living room, watch TV, talk to people, and smoke, but there are not too many people that would actually do that at their house or whose wives would allow them to sit in their living room and smoke a cigar.
Right.
It's typically frowned upon.
I'm not even allowed to.
No, we don't smoke inside our house. That's what the patio's for.
See,
so
we don't smoke inside either. So I'm going to tell you, here's what I did. I bought a 12 by 14 foot shed, wired it, insulated it, sheetrocked it, painted it, TVs, leather sofas, and that's where I hang out.
We got a couch for our patio. I put a TV up outside. We have a refrigerator with drinks in it.
That's called dedicated.
Go hang out outside on the patio, and we do. Excuse me. Oh, your smoke is coming like right up my face.
Sorry.
It's like, thank you.
Yeah, it's all like. But
So-
the idea was that you would be able to come in, and if you wanted to sit with a group, you could. You can sit in a little group and talk, but most of the time, people will come in, they'll sit down on their own the first time in, and by the time they leave, they've moved over and they've joined another group of people. And the first thing they'll ask you is, what's your name? What do you do? Where are you from?
What are you smoking?
Right, what are you smoking? And then the next time they come in, those same people will welcome them by name. It's not just the staff
Right.
welcoming them, it's our regulars that are in
That's
here
how it is at our
that are
shop.
saying hi to
And
them.
it's just that community.
Right.
But what I love about what you've done here is you've maximized the area and you've put like where everybody can sit and talk, but you have it also in sections to where each group can be having their own conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I love
Right.
about this place. So anyway, I'm sorry I got you off on or I went off on a tangent. Go ahead, Ian.
No, I'm. That was kind of the long and short of it is that we needed something else. We were at kind of the beginning of something. We reached out to some people that we had known for a while, and then woohoo, and then we ended up with Smokers Abbey, and it was funny because I was talking earlier about how we hadn't found that atmosphere that we were looking for.
Right.
Within the year surrounding us opening up, though, the Austin cigar scene really changed a lot.
Really?
In that we in the year surrounding us, so it used to be essentially three main shops in Austin, and I'll name them by name because we're not about competition, we're about camaraderie here. So Pipe World, which has been around forever, they used to sell in the mall.
Nice.
They have two stores, one in Round Rock, one in Austin, and obviously mainly their focus is on pipes. They have the biggest pipe selection I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
If you want to go in and see those pipes for the first time, like actually hold them,
I
Pipe
would
World's a
love to
place
do
go.
that.
Yeah, they're great.
So much pipe tobacco.
But they do have a pretty good selection of cigars. They have really reached out into the cigar scene and really cultivated a really cool little humidor. Heroes and Legacies, which we'll get back to in just a sec. Heroes and Legacies was around for 22 years, run by some cool people, and so you had them. And then Habana House, when we first moved here, was actually being run out of a coffee shop.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they didn't even really have like a straight lounge storefront. They were kind of sharing a space with Ruta Maya.
They were sharing a back corner of the Ruta Maya
Right.
coffee shop on South Congress. And it was a tiny little humidor about the size of this corner right here. You'd walk in
wow.
and get your cigar, and you couldn't smoke it anywhere near. You had to go out on a patio and go to the far end of the patio
Right.
to be able to smoke your cigar. Like,
Wow.
So that was when we moved here.
they've come so
So
far.
in the year surrounding us opening, we have a Casa in Monte Cristo that's opened up in the Westlake area. Habana House has expanded huge. They have 2 huge lounges. One of them is actually right next to Romacraft headquarters. Then in Buda, Texas, which is kind of technically South Austin, Cigar Vault opened up, and actually some friends of ours are the people that opened. We had no idea either of us were opening a cigar place.
Really?
But we just happened to kind of open up like right around each other, and they're awesome. Probably one of the quirkiest cigar places you'll ever go into. The guy that manages is one of the nicest dudes on the planet. He'll hug you.
I've never heard a shop referred to as quirky. Now I want to go.
Well, it's in a 100-year-old bank. That's why it's called
wow.
Cigar Vault, and the humidor is actually in like the vault. You have to pull this big metal door open and stuff like that.
I was in Hastings, Nebraska earlier this year.
Yeah.
In a building that was built in, I believe, 1893, and they were in the downstairs part below street level.
Yeah.
And their humidor was a vault.
Yeah. Then, unfortunately, after 22 years, Heroes and Legacy shut down. And then about, I'd say probably 8-9 months after we opened, a place in Georgetown, which is a little farther north than us, called Zodiac Cigars opened up. So in just a year and a half span, we went from like kind of 3 big names to all of a sudden we have all these shops that have a very specific personality. All of it, what I loved about everything that opened up around that time, including us, is that it kind of gave everybody a unique experience when coming to a cigar place. So like, I hate to pigeonhole people, but I've referred to Buda being very quirky, Cigar Vault, but Zodiac's is very upscale, very, very high-end type stuff. We're a little bit more like quirky. I always call us the dive bar of the cigar lounge. And then, you still have Habana House, which is an established name, giant. Their humidor is probably the size of our lounge. And, so really, if you're living in the Austin area and you're wanting to experience like tobacco, cigars, this lounge experience, you've really got a lot of options now because it kind of depends on what you're looking for. And what we found is we kind of attract the misfits.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the quirky ones.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you said that you kind of feel like your shop is the dive. And you know what I think of when I think of the dive bar is those are the bars that are the most comfortable.
yeah.
And that's a big part of, to me, that's a big part of cigar life. Am I able to come in and hang out and just be comfortable?
Exactly. It's all about community, man, and that's why that was how I was able to justify going from a ministry job, which was very community based,
Sure.
to doing something else. And the idea behind it was that we could still have that community with people, we could still connect, we could still integrate with people's lives, and but just in a very different way.
Kind of different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's community. And I tell you, the funny thing is, you probably don't know this, but the home shop that we have in Abilene is the Leaf, and the prior owner was a retired pastor.
Oh, right.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so in fact, we did an interview with him, and the episode was called "The Smoking Preacher Man."
That's awesome. That's
So
fantastic.
he was a super cool guy. But anyway, so tell us about what kind of events y'all do here. What kind of what's your favorite cigars here? Tell us what you're smoking now. I believe that's a Warped.
Yeah, Warped La Comuna number 44.
Great
this
smoke.
is one of the awesomest cigars on the market right now. Kyle, yeah, I know. I saw your sticker earlier. I was like,
I gotta get one of those stickers for my new phone. I had Caldwell on my old one forever, but now I need that one.
Kyle is maybe one of the most gifted blenders in our industry right now, and he's younger than me, which is not saying much, but he's.
Well, let's ask you, how old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, because you look younger than that.
Yeah.
I'm 36.
Okay, I thought you were both in your 20s.
No, we get
that a lot, but yeah.
So Kyle's a young guy, but really knows what he's doing, has a very distinct vision for his company. He's an incredible guy.
Amazing palate.
Amazing
palate.
And then you're smoking...
Drop Dead Gorgeous from Nomad. It's one of their releases. It's their last release that they just had.
Okay, I haven't had one of
So,
those either.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be able
Not
to.
gonna
It's
get
one of the
one.
limited. They only made 300 of them.
Wow, 300.
300. Yeah, they make roughly The Nomads, they make anywhere between 300 to 400, and then the Ezras, they make around 500 to 700 usually.
Wow.
Usually.
I did not
Depends
know
on how
that.
much tobacco they can get. But
I see.
It is
Yeah.
it is to be noted that our shop almost exclusively focuses on boutique. That was a decision made to distinguish us a little bit in the area. I didn't want to open just another cigar shop.
Right.
So we kind of focused on the side of the industry that we felt maybe was being overlooked in other humidors. People may have some of this stuff, but they stick it over to the side or whatever. And we wanted to shine a light on those guys. And so our big thing is that we're always out there looking for new. Can you talk to them? They were coming to drop off some stuff real quick.
Oh, that's Aganorsa Leaf.
Yeah, that's.
They were on the show last week.
This is our rep for them actually. This is Ryan
awesome.
Poehler. Hey, how you doing?
Tell them to come on in.
Yeah, you guys can come in if you want. Come hang out. No, it's okay.
I want to meet this guy with the Aganorsa Leaf shirt on.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Ian. Nice to meet you. What's up?
How are you doing, guys?
Go ahead and open
Good.
it.
How are you? Sorry to crash.
No, you're fine.
How you doing, sir?
Sorry to crash.
2 weeks ago, we had Terrence Riley on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the nicest dudes in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Super nice guy.
Him,
It's amazing.
him and Sebastian from Cavalier, man, they're like
There's my ash on the ground.
sweethearts.
And don't you find like the best guys in the business are also just like so grounded and just so humble about it? You know what I mean?
One of my favorite people in the world is Nick Malio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that dude is so
Nick
zen all
Aragua.
the time. Yeah, Nick Aragua. But yeah, that dude is so zen all the time. I
Oh.
don't think there's anything that gets him riled up.
Well, we
He
don't.
is-
We're not at his
We're not-
factory.
yeah,
I'm
no, we're
sure
not
he
at
has
his
some
factory.
things that.
You're not
At least
poking him
in
with a
person, he
stick.
is very calm.
Oh,
But anyway, so we're boutiques first. We put a big emphasis on Texas-owned brands.
nice.
We
I
have
saw you had the
our
McAuliffe in there.
our first wall when you first walk into our humidors, all Texas-owned brands. And
Okay.
so we put McAuliffe, Black Label, Blackworks, which is my personal. James Brown is my somehow blends directly to my palate. I don't.
Nice.
I don't know where we met someplace in life, but he knows exactly what I want to. I want to smoke all the time. Southern Draw, which is an Austin, Texas company, who's most people don't know that just because they're fairly widely distributed. And then we focus on some of the smaller brands too. So Nomad, Ezra Zion, Ohana, Providencia. We have Babalu here, which is a very much an Austin, Texas company. They roll here in town.
Oh, wow.
And we're expanding that this summer with the addition of Dissonant Cigars,
Okay.
which is now owned by a Texas boy named Ben Holt. Yeah, Ben. What's up?
Now, I got to ask you, have you guys heard of Margola's?
No.
Okay, you know where Brenham is?
Yes.
Okay, there's a really cool shop over there. And when you go in, it's like completely retro 50s Vegas.
Oh, wow.
I have heard of that place.
All the
I've been
furniture is
told
like
about it.
bright turquoise
Yeah.
blue. And I mean, it's just a really cool vibe.
Mirrors on the ceiling? I'm just kidding.
Mirrors on the wall.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
But I didn't look at the ceiling. I did look at the ceiling because it was not mirrors because of his exhaust system, I noticed. But the walls were mirrored. But I would tell you this, you might want to check in with him because he rolls all his own cigars.
Nice.
And he actually said that he started out selling other mainstream cigars
Right.
and then just the cigars that they rolled. And they were outselling the other ones 10 to 1. So he quit carrying the Altadas, the General, and all that. And now he just does that. And I was kind of skeptical because I've really never smoked cigars that people hand roll
Yeah.
while you're there. I smoked it and I was like, holy crap.
Right.
It was really good. And they're right down the way. So even if you don't want to carry their cigars, you should definitely go over there and just hang out for an evening because it's a cool vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And they also do hookahs. I don't do hookahs, but after I was there, I wanted to smoke a hookah.
It was fun.
Because they do all their own tobacco for that too.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
real cool.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
We're not quite that expanded. We focus on fine tobacco only.
Ah, I
So
gotcha.
we only pipe tobacco and cigars. We just make it real simple for everybody.
Cool. So you smoke a pipe and you smoke a pipe.
I'm an
I
occasional
smoke a
pipe
pipe.
smoker. She's
I I do smoke pipe.
Okay.
I have a few. It's a terribly expensive hobby.
It is a very expensive hobby. I didn't really
But I love
smoke
it.
pipes, and I got into the pipe hobby. That's not a good idea.
No, I've actually gotten a few of our people into pipes, and now they smoke cigars and they smoke pipe. So,
Right.
Yeah, can get a tad bit expensive, but it is a quite relaxing hobby.
Yeah.
If you're good at it. If you're
If
not
you know
good at
it,
it.
takes some
it takes
practice.
some work, and
Yeah, if you're not good
I
at it,
do a
it's
lot
not
of
that
teaching
relaxing.
before I give somebody a pipe. I don't just hand it to them and say, good luck, you're on your own. We sit there and we learn how to pack it and how to light it so that they don't get frustrated, and so that I can keep them going on it.
I got frustrated a lot.
Yeah,
In fact,
a lot of people do.
I just gave all my pipes away.
Yeah, that
Because
tends to be what happens.
It's like, Merry Christmas, everybody. Here's some really nice pipes, but I'm done.
This is too much work.
It's too much work,
Yeah.
and a cigar is just so much easier for me, and I'm lazy. That's what it boils down to, I guess.
I like pipes when it's raining.
When it's raining?
Yeah, because you can pack like a 20-minute bowl and just like sit out there and just real light and just watch the rain. It's really nice.
Nice.
It's about, and then when we get new stuff in, I usually will light up whatever we have new that's in and just try to get myself acquainted with it. Like we've got one from Cornell and Deal right now that's a pepper bomb. I've never tasted
Really?
a pipe tobacco that was so peppery.
It's their new small batch.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
see, whenever I was smoking pipes, I liked the pepper bomb
Yeah.
style.
yeah.
So, do y'all serve liquor here?
We do not. We're BYOB.
Okay, so you can bring in.
We have a really amazing coffee shop and brewery right down the way.
Oh, nice.
And they just so conveniently, their license extends all the way down this sidewalk. So you can go down and grab a beer or a couple of cans of beer and bring it down here, or you can bring in your own.
Very nice.
So yeah,
That was a
no
leftover
need.
from the Dallas experience too,
Yeah.
because that was such a cool thing for me to be able to go, because I'm a big Irish whiskey drinker. Typically, if you go to a bar, they don't have a lot of Irish, so I would grab a bottle of Irish and then go to a cigar shop and be able to drink what I wanted and smoke more
So
cigars.
tell me a good Irish whiskey.
Napier Castle, the 12 year is the baseline that they
Okay.
do. It's vanilla and cream. It's so good. And then I actually snagged a bottle of 16 year about a year ago, and it's one of those whiskeys that you take into your mouth and you just hold it there and you wait for the burn. Burn
It
never
doesn't show.
comes, and it is unbelievably
Nice.
good. It's a single malt Irish whiskey. It's called Napier Castle.
Napier Castle. I'll have to try that out.
Yeah, it's really good. And then Sexton is very good. It's distilled in sherry barrels.
Sherry barrels.
And it has a lot more bite than most Irishes do. So it's like a good midway point between Irish and a bourbon.
Okay.
Is what I find. It's really cool branding too. It has a very unique looking bottle. It's hexagonal.
Oh,
and it
okay.
has a little skull with a top hat on it. It's,
Nice.
It's a cool looking bottle.
Nice.
So-
Have you? Do you drink bourbons as well?
I do.
So have you had the Colonel E.H. Taylor? Try that one next
Yeah.
time you get a chance. Smoothest I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's a small batch bonded.
Yeah.
And so I just had that for the first time last week, and I was like, wow, that's
We're-
good stuff.
We're a big fan of Garrison Brothers around here because they're not too far from
They're in
here.
the neighborhood.
They're in the neighborhood, and
Springs.
they're
Nice.
really, their stuff is legit.
Well, I'll have to try that out,
They have
too.
one. If you can get your hands on cowboy whiskey, it'll cost you a little bit of money, but that thing is so good. But it is so strong.
The Balmarea.
The
as well.
Balmarea is
They
baller.
just released the latest batch of the Balmarea a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So they do that once every year to 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Okay. So,
Fantastic.
and y'all do events also, because
We
do.
I was talking to him before the show, and Rebecca's going to a wedding tonight
Mm-hmm.
I am.
as a cigar retail, not as part of the wedding.
Correct.
Yes.
So we will bring out, for example, tonight we're taking out 4 different brands of cigars, and we'll sell them at the event, cut and light them for everybody, and people can just hang out and smoke cigars at the wedding.
Nice.
We've done 4.
Done golf tournaments.
We do golf tournaments. We have a hotel that buys some cigars from us that we supply for the Intercontinental Hotel downtown. It's kind of a bougie old school hotel.
Yeah.
That ironically I went to prom there when I was in high school. Like I walked in and I was like, I recognize this staircase.
See, I can't
We do
imagine
events
what he
down there,
looks
too.
like at prom because this is not what he went to prom like.
No, it is. It is not.
So, and
always
I'm
been
going
a
to
little
post.
shade of this.
Yeah. So you have, and are you Irish?
I have a lot of Irish in me.
I figured. I mean,
yeah.
he has this amazing red beard that says Irish all over it. So
Yeah, no, I thought it was just from one side of my family, and then in recent years, my granddad has gotten rather chatty about his lineage, and turns out his great grandfather, so my
great.
whatever that
No,
means,
that'd be
was
three
so
great.
Irish that he couldn't understand what he was saying. Like, he would talk to him, and he said he had a red beard until the day that he died in
Wow.
his 70s or something like that. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
Have you done the 23andMe?
I haven't. Which probably, if somebody was going to do it, it'd probably be me, because both sides of my family have been rather tight-lipped about their. Both sides of my family moved to Texas and kind of started their families over.
Okay.
And so my mom's side, they were from Louisiana and Mississippi, and they came out. They're from the Golden Triangle, Orange and Orange and Vidor, Texas is where my mom and dad grew up, and then my other side of the family, they kind of lived on the border of Louisiana and Texas most of their life. So my granddad calls us Swamp Texans.
Oh, nice.
So
Now, Rebecca has red hair too. Are you Irish?
I have some Irish on one side of my family.
I don't-
yes.
do
I'm
peop-
Irish and English.
Okay, I was going to say,
Yeah.
do people have red hair from other parts of the world too?
Scottish.
Scots have red hair and red beards. Irishmen have darker hair, which is what I have in red beards.
I got you.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I did the 23andMe, and I was 80% Irish, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was just like, whatever.
So we have some Irish stuff on the wall. This is where a lot of in our Irish living room is what the theme is. This is the green and the tan.
Yeah, the Irish
So,
pub mixed with the living room.
So the sign on the wall, what publication was that in?
Tobacco business.
Tobacco Business Journal.
Was that here in Austin, or is that
No,
national?
It's national.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's national.
How you doing, brother? Yeah, it was. They reached out to us. I honestly don't know how they knew about us, but they reached out to us and wanted to do an article about some up and coming lounges, and we ended up in the.
And they came up with the perfect name of the article. Take us to church.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
So they wanted to talk about couple-owned, women-backed cigar shops. That's kind of what they were going after, was shops that weren't just predominantly male-owned.
Right.
So
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys ever get out of the Austin area, but there's a shop up in Big Spring, Texas, that's owned by Camilla and Brent. Do you know them?
we know about are you
And
talking about
The train car. Yeah, we've done two. I've been up there countless times. It's only about an hour and a half for me, so I
Right.
love going over there. They're great people, but yeah, they've told the whole story and how instrumental both parties play, and actually that was the very first show we did was at their place.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and anyway, we talked about, and then do you get this also, that when you say we own the shop, they think of, Ian owns
He
the
owns
shop?
the shop, and
right,
I'm
and you're just
hanging
tagging
out.
on. You're,
Yeah, we had a customer in a couple of weeks ago that was like, "Yeah, the owner gave me some recommendations." I was like, "Well, tell me what he gave you. I can probably help you out." And he was like, "No, I'll just wait for the owner to come back." And I was like, "I'm also the owner." He was like, "Well, we'll just wait for him." I'm like, "If you tell me what you're looking for, I can probably help you."
right. You're like,
there'll be a different spin on it, but I do actually know what I'm talking about. I don't just run the register.
Right.
Like, I do actually smoke cigars myself. So
we had a rep do that one time too.
yeah, it did not go well.
We don't carry that brand now.
We'll wait for the man to get back.
Right.
That's exactly what he did.
That was the last time
there
he
is
came in here as well.
There is a rule learned from that: do not turn your back on Rebecca,
Right. Well,
because
That will
turning
be
your
the
back on
last
her
time
will mean
we
that
have
your cigars do not hit our shelves.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
we had a rep doing an event at the shop, and one of our very seasoned cigar smokers came in, and the first thing he said to her was, "Oh, I have the perfect cigar for you," and hands her a nice light Connecticut, and she smokes darker smokes than I smoke,
Don't make assumptions.
and bam, she was not happy.
Don't make assumptions.
And so, yeah, don't make assumptions. And I mean, this is not 20 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? the cigar industry as a whole has evolved.
Right.
So tell us about, you were going to tell us something about Austin and the community, and you said we'd get into that later.
Well, I was alluding to the shops that have opened up and the how much is expanded, and the cool thing is that nobody's going into a shop anymore because they have to. They're going in because they want to. So if you want a certain experience, you have choices now. And what I found is that I'm sure there are some shops in town that feel that there is a finite group of cigar smokers in the Austin area. And so anytime a new shop opens, you're taking a piece of that pie. But what I've kind of more observed is that since there's so many different experience, we're actually creating new cigar smokers.
Yeah.
And so the more shops that you have that offer different experiences and in different locations, because the cool thing about Austin is it's very much like Dallas too, where when you say you're from Dallas, what you really mean is you're from the Dallas and the surrounding areas.
Right.
But when you have something that's a little bit more local, that gives you the convenience of being able to walk in, and we take that customer from the online sales and we bring them into a shop, then they really fall in love with that experience. So they're more likely to, when they're driving around Austin, oh, cool, there's another cigar shop. Let's go in and see what they're all about, that type of thing. And what the strength of all these cigar shops opening has been is that we're creating a bigger clientele base for the cigar industry in general. Maybe not for our individual shops, but we're getting people into the idea of this is a communal thing. Cigars are cigars. You can get them anywhere now.
Sure.
You can go to a gas station. You can go to Specs. You can get them online and stuff like that if you want to. And having that time by yourself sometimes is really good. But the idea behind them was to slow down a little bit, was to sit across from somebody, look them in the eye, and that's very rare nowadays.
Now that we're in a digital age where everybody's on their phone,
Right.
people don't take time to build those relationships, get to know one another,
Right.
and you've created a great setting here where people come in and that's what they're looking for, because they're not getting this on their phone. I promise you.
I mean, we've had customers that did not know each other before we opened, and they spent Thanksgiving together.
Wow,
You know,
nice.
like that type of thing. So that to me is whatever success that we have with the shop, which is obviously we want that because we want to do this for a long time. I want my son to inherit this someday. But whatever success we have here, that's the win for me, is like seeing those people connect and seeing those people build a community with each other that was that didn't exist before.
Right.
And groups of friends coming in here is great. What's even better is when you're able to meet new people and connect with people that are very different than you, but you have this like connection to each other because this is your place.
That's basically what happened to me. I mean, I used to run in the cigar shop, and I was intimidated. You know how you are the first time you go in.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these guys know what they're doing.
Right.
And so, but then that first time where you actually take the time to sit down, and that's where it starts. And then you never get away. You know what I mean? That's over.
Yeah.
Because you're going to build these relationships. And we were talking about it yesterday. When guys come in the shop, and I'm sure you see it here, they go around and shake everyone's hand, and then they sit, and we smoke, and we talk.
Yeah.
And then when someone leaves, they go around the circle and shake everyone's hands. And I mean, these are not family as far as blood goes, but they're family as you could possibly get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys have been here for about 18 months, from what I understand, and you have a great shop from what I can see. And I'd definitely love to hang out here. So my question is, do you think that you'll be expanding? Because I'm guessing that y'all get pretty full.
It depends on the day. Our events, when we do cigar events, which we've done 4 this year, and our focus was trying to bring out companies that had never been to Austin before this time.
Okay.
This year. So Cass Dagley, aka Bespoke, Cavalier Cigars, which is, if you've never had them, they're fantastic. Cornelius and Anthony, and then McAuliffe Cigars was our last one. It gets pretty tight in here, but we have always been a big proponent of learning to walk before you run. And so I think some places like us open up and they immediately want to have that, we need to have a giant space and we need to have a website and we need to do all this. And I was like, well, why don't we learn how to do this really well? And then we go from there. So, we're always looking around to see if expanding is the answer, if a second location is the answer, if a different location is the answer,
Was there something next door?
There is something
There
next
is
door.
something
next
It's
Because the windows you couldn't see, and I thought maybe y'all were doing something.
It's a restaurant. It's
Oh, okay.
There's an
beside them.
Italian restaurant next door.
This is actually their kitchen.
Oh,
That
nice.
runs along this wall. But yeah, so expansion is something that we talk about, but really, honestly, I'm wanting to take it slow, get really good at what we do, really grow not only the community, but like the stuff that we're doing here, and kind of go from there.
I like that approach, and really it focuses on the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? You open a bigger space,
Growing.
now you have different people coming in, and it takes time to build it from there.
Yeah.
To where now you're giving a great space where people do know each other. And the people that you sit in here every day, they're the people who welcome your new customers.
Yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? And so you have that perfectly set up right now.
Right.
So it'd be tough to just jump ship and go do something bigger.
Right. And really, honestly, does that reflect who we are anyway?
Right.
Is having this, I would love to have something the size of TJ's, obviously.
Sure.
But is that really who I am as a person right now? Is that a reflection of the type of business that we want to run, or is taking it slow, growing the humidor, growing our tobacco selection, growing the brands that we're repping, because we rep smaller brands. So
Yeah, and I was going to say, I can tell by going in your humidor, you're very selective. You don't just let anything come in.
I took on the moniker, the idea, probably within 6 months, that we don't stock our humidor, we curate it. And there are a lot of brands that come to us that I actually really like their cigars, but I don't feel like they work for us.
I got you.
And so it's always a weird conversation, especially when I'm talking to reps and brand owners, of like, look, it's not that I dislike what you're doing. It's that for our humidor, for the type of stuff that we're putting in there, I have to really weigh, do I have another company that's already kind of scratching this itch? Do I have something at this price point that's already scratching this itch? That type of stuff. And really try to look at our humidor and say, do we need another, and this is not a diss, need another Nicaraguan Puro? Or do we need to try to go find something else that really gives our customers another place to go to for a very distinct flavor profile? And there are a lot of humidors that can just carry everything, and that's fantastic. I mean, especially for a guy like me, where I get to go in and play, because I know a lot about what's going on in the industry. But for me, it's everything that I put in that humidor has my name attached to it, so it has to have some amount of residual. I don't want to make a first-time sale. I want to make a long-term customer.
Right. You want to build that relationship.
Yeah.
I like it.
I got a question.
Yeah.
And it's going to change the dynamic of it. What was your mindset in the beginning, going from faith-based to the cigar, the transition in there?
Well, we've kind of touched on it a few times. The community aspect has always been a big part of what cigar smoking and pipe smoking was for me. And even in our marriage, what we found was when we went out and sat on our back porch and we smoked a cigar, and that was our time where we put the computers away, we put the phones away, and we actually talked to each other about our future, what was going on with our lives, our friends, whatever we needed to get out. That was the easiest place for us to go do it, because we were kind of focused on each other and on experiencing the cigar and stuff like that. The ministry, the part of the ministry, I was in a very large church. And so I was a youth pastor, but I mainly focused on older high school students, specifically seniors transitioning into college ministry.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of gentlemen, especially, that were wanting to smoke cigars with me because they knew I was a cigar smoker. And I told them they couldn't do it until they graduated, because I didn't want to have that fun conversation with their parents. But after that, I had 3 experiences back to back where I had been meeting with this one particular guy for months and months and months, going to breakfast, doing this stuff. We were talking to each other, we're getting to know each other. And then he comes back from college from his first semester. We sit in my backyard, and it's just like this outpouring all of a sudden. It was like I got more ministry, quote unquote, done in 45 minutes sitting out by my fire pit with a cigar than I had in the 2 years prior leading up to it. And that was really like a tip off to me that there's something very special about this focused time of being able to kind of lean into each other and stuff like that. So that was a lot of it. Yeah.
And I've talked to other shops as well about this, but the thing about it is, where else can you go and have this community?
Right.
You know what I mean? Basically, the only two I've seen is you're going to church or you're coming to a cigar lounge. And, someone even brought up, well, you could go to a bar, but that's a whole different reason. That's a whole different relationship. You know what I mean? People go hang out at bars for different reasons than when they come hang out at a place like this.
Well, I mean, the longer you stay at a bar, the more intoxicated,
right,
more lit
right.
you get, that type of thing.
And
so,
then your conversations.
yeah, they get louder and they get less focused and harder to remember.
Right. And I mean, even with the BYOB, I mean, I've taken note that most of the time when people are having a drink with a cigar, they're not just drinking.
Yeah,
you know what
they're
I mean?
doing it for taste.
It's like they're pairing, they're enjoying, but we're not drinking 5, 6, 7 drinks.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? So it is a completely different type community than anywhere else. And I think it's a great match coming from ministry to a cigar lounge.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, Rebecca got busy with the customer guys, so I really didn't want to end the show while she wasn't sitting here. But we appreciate you guys having us and having taken the time to come on the show.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by. And
Here
doing,
she
doing
comes.
the same.
She was taking care of business.
Life of a shop owner.
Yeah, never get to smoke, focus, or finish a cigar. And
Yeah,
I've
Bill.
actually managed to keep this one lit the entire time, so I'm actually feeling like I'm having a really good day today.
That's what we always used to kid Bill, the preacher man at the Leaf, was. Yeah, we know you as a cigar shop owner, all you do is sit around and smoke cigars, right?
Oh yeah, that's all we do all day, every
all
day.
day.
That's the life.
there's absolutely no stress. And
No.
Yeah, he always used to say, I was like, hey, how you doing today, Bill? Oh, just sitting around smoking cigars.
It's the life right there.
Right. Well, we were telling Ian, we appreciate you guys having us to the shop, being on the show, sharing your story, and we definitely look forward to coming back and hanging out and just smoking cigars.
We
Yeah,
hope you
definitely.
do. Thank you for
All
coming.
right. Oh, thank you guys. Well, you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
All
You
right.
too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones, and Bryant's here in the studio with us. We just had a great interview with Ian and Rebecca down at Smokers Abbey in Austin, Texas. It's on the north side of town. Check that place out. They're just really good people. We love what they're doing down there. In fact, I told them, and I wasn't just BSing them, I can't wait to go back down there to when I can have time to hang out and smoke there.
Yeah, sitting there in that boutique brick and mortar, it's just it's great, man.
And they sell so many boutique cigars from Texas.
Yes.
And the cool thing is, it has that vibe, that feel like they would sell boutique
That's
cigars.
correct.
You know
That's
what I mean?
correct, yeah.
I would almost say they're like a boutique cigar shop. Not just what they sell, but the whole feeling, because it's that small community. And, I mean, you can just tell they're really giving it the love that those people deserve.
And when you walk in the door, the decor is going to hit you immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately.
So, all right, man. Well, let's get to last week we did the 2 cigars from Hiram and Solomon, which is our sponsor, and 2 cigars from Alpha Cigars, which is also our sponsor. And so what we did was we're going to give 2 cigars of each manufacturer to our winner this week. And this week, our winner, and we'll tell you about how you can enter this next week. Make sure you pay attention, write it down. So anyway, Stogie_Rookie was the winner this week, and we'll be giving him 2 Alpha Cigars and 2 Hiram Cigars. Hiram Solomon Cigars.
Way to go, Stogie_rookie.
Yeah, good job, guys. So let's talk about that for a minute. Here's the way we do the winning or the contest. So what we do is you have to take a picture of yourself with a cigar, and then you use the hashtag LightEmUpCrew, which is LightEmUpCrew. So use the hashtag LightEmUpCrew, and then in the picture, tag Cigar Talk, and then tag 2 of your cigar friends. And then we look at all the photos, and we take like 6 different ones that we find on there, and we put them in a drawing, and then whoever gets it gets it. And so this week, congratulations to Rookie Stogie, and we'll be getting you those cigars real soon. So this week, what we're going to do, we're going to step it up a notch.
Come on.
We're going to do the 2 Hiram Solomon cigars, which are great cigars. Then we're going to do the 2 Alpha cigar, which is 2 great cigars. So you're getting 4 cigars, but we're also going to step it up. So we're going to throw in on top of it a select draw cutter. So now you get this awesome cutter and 4 quality cigars. So here's what you do, guys. Take a picture of yourself with a cigar, use the hashtag LightEmUpCrew, and then tag Cigar Talk Radio and tag 2 of your cigar friends. We want to start getting the contest going, because I'm going to tell you right now, we got about 7 guys that are in the running every week. So if you do the contest, very high chances you can win. So make sure you guys participate. So anyway, let's get on to, my favorite soapbox is I always talk to you guys about joining Cigar Rights of America. If you've already done it, I just want to say thank you for participating, and write a letter to your senator. And if you've already done that, then here's my next request. The cigar smokers that are always bitching. So what I want you to do is you talk to those guys and say, hey man, let's all join together and burn it up. Let's make these grassroots turn to on fire and do something, because we don't want our rights to be taken away. This is a community, and we're on the edge of having this whole community broken up by the government, and that's the way I see it. So I hope that you'll take the time, join Cigar Rights of America. It's $25. You also get 2 free cigars, and they send you an ID card and a pamphlet with all the information about Cigar Rights for America. Write a letter to your senator. Let them know that we want to support the Article S9 from Mark Rubio, which takes cigars out from underneath the FDA. That would be a win-win for all of us. So anyway, let's talk about what we have coming up the next 3 weeks. We have big shows coming up, guys. Next week, we're going to start part 1 of the Mike Rosales interview from Romacraft. We got to have a great interview with that guy. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you this little story right quick before we go. When we went in there, we hung out for probably, a half hour before Rosales got there?
That's correct.
We hung out, and when he showed up, I've never met him before, and he shows up. He comes in, and he's got some work he's got to do before he does the interview. So he jumps on his laptop, and he's like, I'll be right with you guys. And so my first thought is, this guy seems like he's nothing but business.
Yeah.
Did you kind of sense that?
You did.
Yeah. So, and then before he was like, well, how long do you want to do the show? And I was like, he kind of intimidated me a little bit. And most people don't intimidate me. And I was like, 20, 30 minutes, like a little punk. I was like, 20, 30 minutes? So he was like, yeah, we can do that, no problem. And then as soon as we sat down and actually started talking, it was like, wow, this dude's cool, man. This dude's a regular guy like us.
Yes, he is.
He's not some upper, echelon businessman that thinks he's better than everyone. He actually is just this cool, laid-back guy that happens to make amazing cigars and has a really cool business plan. And so when you get to hear his story, man, it's really something. And so definitely you guys check out next week. That'll be part 1. And then we'll do the week later, we'll do part 2. And then the very next week, we have David Blanco on the show, which is the owner of Blanco Cigars and the blender for Hiram Solomon, for the Warfighters, for Blanco Cigars, and about 10 other brands that you know. This dude is like idol. I mean, this dude is awesome. I was so excited to meet the guy, and I'll tell you what, after meeting him, I was even more impressed than just smoking his cigars.
Yeah, he's a true jack of all trades that has refined himself to just one thing, which is his family's business.
Yeah, generational.
Yes.
I think he said he's the 4th generation in the cigar industry. And, I mean, he has a really amazing story. He was a patriot. He was in the service. He was in law enforcement. He was a firefighter. He was an EMT. I mean, guys all over the place. But you notice all the things that he was. He cares about people.
Servant.
You know what I mean? He's a servant. And, I mean, man, he was a humble, genuine, nice guy. So you guys, I hope that you join us for the next 3 weeks for sure. We got great shows. I enjoyed doing them. I hope that you enjoyed as much. So anyway, and by the way, before we leave, go by our iTunes and rate us. We asked you to do that last week. We had a few people do that. It just really helps us grow the network. And if you guys will just take 2 minutes, go in and say, hey, these guys are great, or hey, these guys suck. Just let us know what you think. We're not asking you to do a rating based on, what we want. We just want a rating.
Yeah, true rating.
If you go in there and just do that, that's a huge help to us. We appreciate it. And so I guess that's all we got for the day.
Hey, that's it. That's
all
enough.
right, man. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week. Until next time, stay smoking.